Hello there, it's your buddy Phil, project management trainer and coach. This is a short version of the review of the PMBOK Guide 7th edition by esteemed fellow, as you can see here, of the PMI, Max Wideman. Okay, now taking a look at the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. It's a very controversial, polarizing publication. And for the longest time, I've said this book doesn't add up. It's disaster waiting to happen. I'd said quite a number of things about it. Well, now you get the pleasure of hearing a true OG in the world of the PMI, Max, giving you his view about this. Now, to understand who you're dealing with, PMI fellow back in 1989. Some of you weren't even born back then, right? He was a president of PMI in 1987, the chair in 1988, and he has diverse experience in systems, software, social, and environmental projects. Very, very vast experience. And to be quite honest, when I was a young'un in the world of the PMI, I remember reaching out to Max and asking Max to help me. And I found his site. My goodness, his site has so much depth of project management understanding. His PM glossary of terms back in 2005, I remember when I was studying for the exam, I found this to be such a treasure trove of wisdom. And there's so much great stuff on his website. But going to his review here, my friends, he first of all reviews some stuff about the guide that is good. He talks about the language, that some of it is clear, and he raises some good points about it in the what we liked section. I'm going to put a link to that below and you can take a look. All right, but then he goes into the downside. And one of the first things he says, let's be quite transparent. The title of the book is written in large letters, A Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide 7th edition. Unfortunately, I argue that the contents of this book, as it stands, are nothing of the sort. I would be inclined to stop right there, but maybe the uninitiated reader deserves at least some further explanation. For the record, I was the initiator of the term PMBOK. And not surprisingly, this moniker stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. It was years later that PMI chose to register the name with the registered trademark R. And then he goes into the history of what the PMBOK guide in the very beginning was intended to do. He goes through a lot of content. Look for my other video where I cover his review in a lot more detail. Let's go to his conclusion. He says, it is important to note that each of these topics listed from the PMBOK guide as it was intended to be is specific to project management alone, but not specific to any industry. It's also important to note that these topics require specific skill sets, resulting in technical specialties. And that's what it was intended to do. In conclusion, by comparing the table of contents of Book B to the original PMBOK guide 1987, it is clear that a lot of extraneous detail of a behavioral nature. See, when you heard some of us saying a lot of this behavioral stuff belongs more somewhere else. Some of it is good, but there's a lot of extraneous stuff, and it's not balanced. That's really what is being said here. A lot of extraneous detail of a behavioral nature has been included, and a lot of important material identifying specific skill sets has been omitted. Let's call it what it is. It's the knowledge areas. Those are specific to project management, and they have been omitted. In short, the latest so-called PMBOK guide follows a completely different theme of advocating behavior rather than addressing the foundational basics of professional project management as originally intended. In short, to avoid total confusion of the PMI membership, A Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide, 7th edition as it stands, should be officially withdrawn. This is from a PMI fellow. This is not from your buddy Phil who was born yesterday. This is from someone who's been in the industry longer than I have. It's telling you, should be officially withdrawn and published, republished under a more appropriate title. Max, thank you very much for this review. I'm keen on knowing what you think about the 7th edition. Do you think work can fly based on the 7th? Do you think that you can train and coach and mentor people in project management based on just the 7th? And the answer for many a coach, many a trainer, many a PMP instructor is going to be no. You know why? Because people are still training the PMP exam based on the 6th edition, which is closer. Yes, it's huge, it's mammoth, it's quite big, but it contains more project management substance than the 7th edition. Let me know what you think. Put a comment below if you've read the 7th edition and if you've read the 6th. And also take a look at the long version of Max's comments. Bye for now.